So at this point, I'm going to introduce to you our second speaker of the day, Anandi Thompson. Anandi is on the motivational strategy pathway, researching and presenting. The speech title is Yoga to Dissolve Triggers and Disease in the Body. Yoga began as a calling for Anandi when she was a 21-year-old Air Force sergeant living in Germany. A lot of responsibility for a 21-year-old Anandi. She learned yoga through a book for 3 years before moving back to the United States and finding a yoga teacher. She started as a way to simply stretch and simply stretch and grow into a 30-year spiritual practice and a passion for helping people let go of suffering and embrace the present moment. As a yoga therapist, Anandi uses the body-mind complex approach that she will be sharing with us today to help people release emotional past experience that are stuck in their body and could be causing a disease. Help me welcome Anandi Thompson.
Going to share my screen. So good evening, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. Most Westerners think that yoga is just an exercise. It isn't. A major distinction between yoga and exercises like running, tennis, and weightlifting is that exercises deplete energy, whereas yoga cultivates and expands energy in the body. So after a yoga class, you will feel more alert and energized, whereas after a workout, you may feel drained and tired. A quote from my spiritual teacher, Yogi Amrita Sai, says, "If your life is not transforming, then you're not doing yoga." True yoga draws out reactive patterns in the mind and tensions in the body on the mat so that you can become practiced in relaxing through pressure situations off the mat. Yoga uses holding postures to move into deeper layers of mental, emotional, and physical blocks, and then releases or dissolves them into the ocean forever. This provides a space of freedom where there was once trapped energy, which opens up new ways of thinking and acting. Now I'm going to show you the body-mind complex according to yogic cosmology. The purpose is to recognize that we come from source. At the bottom, we have the ocean of consciousness, or source. At the top, we have energy. Consciousness is formless like the sky. It's timeless, eternal, pure potential. Form is like the clouds, the stars, the things in the sky. They are time-bound, they live and die, and they dissolve back into the ocean. Consciousness is made visible through life force, prana, or breath. Visible consciousness comes in the way of emotion, thoughts, and any physical being. Yogis say that we have one physical body and 4 more subtle bodies. In order for the physical body to be healthy, energy must flow freely through it. Think of energy like water moving through a pipe. If you have a thought such as, "I'm not good enough," or "I'm not lovable," that's like putting a wall in the pipe and blocking the flow of energy. The mental body is like the critic in the mind that convinces you who you are and has you act accordingly. The wisdom body is like your higher self that discerns the truth from untruth. And the bliss body, closest to consciousness, is where imprints from incomplete and unresolved experiences or events stay. Basically, they get stuck here. Instead of integrating the event, we shut it down, we try to forget it, or we compensate for it. When unhindered, energy flows, events and experiences integrate, and the body heals itself and balances. Let's talk about what blocks energy. Yogis recognize that the body is a warehouse of mental, emotional, and physical tensions. Here, the energy flows freely through the body, and then something happens in the present, and the body-mind complex responds from a stored memory. A trigger is anything that causes an emotional and automatic reaction. A spouse can often trigger an emotional reaction without ever knowing what he or she said to cause that. This is because the trigger lies within each of us. It has nothing to do with the person or the triggering event. Here's an example for you. So my husband and I every night walk around our yard, and as we're enjoying the beauty, I may say something like, let's move the plants over there. I love talking about the projects in our yard. It makes me excited, but it doesn't do that for my husband. Remember, energy gets blocked by a stored thought. Unresolved energies circulate through the body, and without awareness, may create a hypersensitive to a situation and not know why. So I say, let's move the plants, and my husband responds to the stored memories of having to make dinner every night for a family of 6, do the dishes and chores on the weekends. And all he can hear me say is, you've got a lot of work to do. So energy continues to flow, but it's got nowhere to go. The mind uses resistance and repetition and starts circling around itself, becoming denser until it manifests in the body as dis-ease. So now I'm going to talk to you about how yoga can free your blockages. Riding the wave is how you free blockages. The red spot on the bottom is a T for the trigger. So when I said to my husband, let's move the plants, that triggered a stored memory for him that immediately had him begin to resist. On the mat, we hold yoga poses for longer than what you're comfortable for to trigger that body-mind complex. So while we're going through this, think of a last time that you felt triggered. So the first thing you want to do is withdraw from the story. For my husband, the story was something like, I always have a lot of work to do. So you want to distance yourself from that story. Next, allow for it. Let go of any judgment or comments. Breathe. On the mat, we use specific breathing techniques. Off the mat, I would say deep breaths. Feel the sensations in the body. Notice where you're feeling the trigger. For me, I often have a deep ache just below my sternum, but you could feel the sensation anywhere in your body. Focusing on sensations in the body brings you back into your body and brings you into the present moment. Relax. Notice along the side the intensity goes up. Keep breathing. Watch. My teacher, Gurudev, which is called spiritual, a beloved teacher, says, fire the judge and hire the witness. So you want to witness the sensations as they move through your body and as the thoughts move through your body. Finally, you want to merge. On the mat, I would say gently come out of the pose. You may feel some energy move in the form of pulsations, tingles, or waves in the body. Off the mat, I would say notice your body relaxing, your mind quieting and clearing. Now you can see what is as is. With clarity and calmness, you can take whatever action is appropriate. So I was once in a pose with a partner holding my leg in a very intense position, and I suddenly burst into tears. I felt a whoosh through my body and a release of old sadness. Tears, like sweat, like trembling, are all energy releasing. So I challenge you to practice riding the wave. Holding your arms out in a T position, set your alarm for 3 minutes. If you're holding your arms out, notice what the voice in your head is saying. Notice the sensations in your body. Allow for it. Breathe. Feel the sensations. Witness the sensations and the thoughts. And then at the end of the 3 minutes, allow your arms to slowly come down and notice if you feel any emotions like relief or any tingles or waves, and just allow for the energy to flow back into the ocean. We are all flawed human beings suffering from the same blocked energies that manifest itself in so many different ways in our bodies, our cultures, our communities, and our countries. During these trying times, riding the wave can help us to become more accepting, more allowing, and more open-hearted human beings so that together we can find peace on earth.